Hello. Welcome to Downtown Disciples. We are a progressive faith community doing justice, loving kindness, and walking humbly together. We are LGBTQ affirming, and we proclaim Black Lives Matter. We say that every time we gather because it matters to us. My name is Debbie Griffin, and I am the pastor of Downtown Disciples. My pronouns are she, her, and hers, and it is a blessing and a joy to be part of this community and to be the pastor of this community. Thank you for joining me today for Children's Worship Time, which is not just for children, can be for people of all ages because we're all children of God. And this time is brief, but it's a beautiful time of wandering together, taking a spiritual break during our day. And so I welcome you no matter your age, and we're going to begin. I'm going to light the candle to remind us that God is with us. Let us enjoy the light. Amen. I said amen because just resting can be a time of prayer. Being silent can be a time of prayer. Looking at something and resting in God's presence can be a time of prayer. And I want to say something about light today because at Downtown Disciples, we just started on Sunday a series, a focus in worship on the Gospel of John. So it's the stories of Jesus told to us by someone we call John. And John uses a lot of interesting names for Jesus. And one is light. He calls Jesus the light. So we're going to start by singing a song that you probably know about light. It's This Little Light of Mine. We've sang it together. And I invite you to sing at home because singing is also a way that we talk with God, the way that we get ready to be with God. And it's also really good for our souls and our minds. So we'll do This Little Light of Mine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Shine all over Iowa, I'm gonna let it shine. Shine all over Iowa, I'm gonna let it shine. Shine all over Iowa, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Thank you for singing with me. We're gonna, instead of singing a second song this morning, we're going to do kind of a chant because we started John's Gospel yesterday, and right at the very beginning of John, it says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. So when I was younger, I learned to memorize this verse, and when I was teaching children, I taught them to remember to learn this verse. And so we're going to learn it together. And we're going to use our hands to do that. So we're going to clap our hands 2 times on our lap and say, in the beginning. Then we're going to clap up here, was the Word. And then we're going to snap. And the Word was with God, and the Word was God. So it's In the beginning was the Word. The Word was with God, and the Word was God. John 1:1. We're going to do that several times, and then we're going to get faster and faster, and that'll help us remember it and think about these words of John. So I hope you'll do this at home with me. Are you ready? Here we go. In the beginning was the Word. The Word was with God, and the Word was God. John 1:1. In the beginning was the Word. The Word was with God, and the Word was God. John 1:1. In the beginning was the Word. The Word was God. The Word was God. John 1:1. In the beginning was the Word. The Word was with God, and the Word was God. John 1:1. One more time. In the beginning was the Word. The Word was with God. The Word was God. John 1:1. Good job. I bet you remember that now. And I wonder what John meant by the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Later in John's stories in the Bible, in chapter 2, John tells a story about a wedding. So that's the story we're going to hear today. First, I'm going to ring the bell to get us ready to listen. And listening to the stories of God is one of the ways that we listen to God. Once there was a man who did such wonderful things and said such marvelous things that people followed him. All kinds of people followed him. Small people and tall people, children and adults, people with different names, people who spoke different languages, people whose skin were different colors and whose bodies were differently abled. All kinds of people followed him. One day, he went to a wedding. Many of his friends and followers went to the wedding too. Jesus' mother was also at the wedding. She said to Jesus, "They have run out of refreshments at the wedding. They have run out of sweet, delicious wine to drink." And he said to her, "Why does that matter to you or to me? My hour has not yet come." But then his mother turned to some of the stewards who were in charge of the party and said to them, "Go get the water jars and bring it to them. Bring it to him." And so they brought out 6 of these very large containers that held water. And they brought them to Jesus. And he said, fill them up. And they filled them up with water. Regular, ordinary water. Now, take them to the chief steward and have him draw it out. So they did. And they drew out, and the chief steward tasted what was water but had been turned into wine. And the chief steward said, usually people save the best refreshments. They use the best refreshments at the beginning of the wedding. And they wait and serve the other refreshments that aren't so good at the end of the party, after people have already had a lot to eat and drink. But you have saved the very best wine until the end. This was the first sign that revealed the glory of Jesus. I wonder if you've ever been to a wedding. What did you see at the wedding? Did you see dancing and singing? Were people happy? Was there a lot of love? Was God there at the wedding? I wonder if God is everywhere that there is love. I wonder, why did Jesus' mother tell him that they ran out of wine? And I wonder, why did he say, it's not really our business, but then he turned the ordinary water into delicious wine? Why did he do that? I wonder why that's called a sign of God's glory. Does God like wine? Does God like people to be together, dancing and singing and loving and laughing? I wonder what you like about this story. And I wonder what this story makes you think about. What questions you have about this story. In a few weeks in worship, we're going to be talking about this story. Not this week, but in a couple of weeks. So you have a lot of time to think about this story and what questions you might have. I have a friend that's getting married soon. So I'm thinking about this story and her wedding. Thank you for for joining me for this time of wondering. Oh, and I always like to bring out Bob and Lassie to say hello before we go, and then I'll say the blessing. So I'm going to go get Bob and Lassie and see if they want to join us. And thank you to everybody that joined us today for worship and wonder. I hope that your day is filled with joy and some more singing, maybe some dancing, and some love in your day. Come here, Bob. You want to say hi? Well, come here. Let's say hi. Here he is. He's been outside quite a bit today, so he's kind of warm. Come here, Lassie. You want to say hi? Lassie just got a haircut a couple of weeks ago. I can't remember if you've seen her since she got her haircut, so here's her new haircut. Thank you for joining us. And now may you go in the peace, the power, the love, the joy, and the hope of the one who loves you best. And may you be blessed to be a blessing. Amen. The light is in one place at one time. And now it is in all places at all times because it goes with you.